welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. Over the past 8 years, we've understood what matters most to you, the entrepreneur, and in year 8, we're taking head on two of your most pressing concerns, that of funding and mentoring. I'm being joined by two very special guests today for a very special panel discussion, talking about what business continuity and business preparedness should look like in these very unusual times. Swati Bhargava of CashKaro, Nitin Bhatnagar of PCI Security Standards Council of India joining us on this panel. Swati, Nitin, thank you so much for your time. We kick off a typical panel by talking about what our entrepreneurs do. Swati, I do know you need no introduction, but for the sake of our viewers, very briefly, if you can talk about CashKaro, the germ of the idea, and how you've gone on to become India's biggest cashbacks platform.
Great. Thanks, Ananda. Thanks for having me on the show. So as you mentioned, I am the co-founder of CashKaro.com. Along with my husband, Rohan, we've been running this business for the last few years. We have a team of about 125 people based in Gurgaon and Chennai. And we are basically in the business of affiliate marketing. So we work with e-commerce sites, everyone in India, from an Amazon, Flipkart to vertical players like a Big Basket, a Pepperfry, Travel, everyone that you hear of normally in Indian e-commerce. We work with them, we drive sales to them. For that, we get paid commission, and we actually pass from that cash back to our customers. So if you're shopping on Amazon, rather than going directly, if you go from CashKaro, you'll get extra cash back on your purchase. So cashback is a very cool way to save money on online shopping. That's why we launched it here. These are billion-dollar businesses abroad, and Mr. Tata, Kalari Capital, we have various investors in India, and have helped people save over 100 crores so far.
So while we've started this off on a typical note, this panel discussion is being done at a time which is anything but typical. We're, of course, talking at a time when everyone has had to think on their feet. Businesses, particularly small businesses, have had to rise to the challenge in terms of what the new normal is going to look like. And Nitin, my question on that is to you. What has this period really meant when it comes to security of data, security of payments? Maybe I can first ask you personally, how, as the head of such a large team here in the country, a global organization that's doing operations here in the country as well, what you perhaps have done to prepare yourself?
As a PCI Security Standards Council, our largely focus has been on the development of the standards. But with this quickly changing scenarios, which is caused by the pandemic outbreak of COVID-19, in India, we have seen an increased reliance on the technology, which means the data security has become more important than ever now. And for that, what PCI SSC has been doing is we are dedicated to providing necessary guidance to the payments industry during this evolving circumstances related to COVID-19. And there are several guidance that we have worked out. One is for the people who have been remotely working, and the second is on the threats and scams which are revolving around the COVID-19 scams, around the COVID-19 messaging. So there are especially guidance, released by the PCI Security Standards Council for the payment industry to take care of their businesses as we talk about the situation, which is unprecedented, and we do not know how long the situation is going to last for.
I'm going to talk about the overall conversation around data security, but first. Swati, I want to understand from you, while essentials, of course, is something that probably has been business as usual. What has been the impact of COVID-19, both on your business as well as on the industry? Is it still early days yet, or any sort of ballpark figures at least that you can provide us?
See, unfortunately, while e-commerce essentials delivery is allowed, there are a lot of supply challenges that e-commerce sites have right now from various reasons and perspectives, so that's why it's not normal at all, and nothing has been the same. I think all of us entrepreneurs are, and startups as well, businesses as well, are dealing with something that we had never imagined. First time entrepreneurs, first crisis, all the AOPs that we made have gone out of whack. We are being asked to sort of make AOPs, again, with different scenarios in mind. A lot of it depends also on how long the lockdown extends to, not necessarily how long COVID takes to, completely sort of go away. I think e-commerce, otherwise, like businesses are down about 90%, unfortunately, because there is a very large business online which is non-essentials, mobiles, electronics, fashion, clothing, beauty. These are like the upcoming categories of e-commerce, and all of that is pretty much dead right now. And that has obviously impacted e-commerce, it's impacted affiliate marketing. However, I think that this is short-term pain for all of us. I think as we come out of the lockdown, I personally believe that e-commerce will grow faster than ever because of two main reasons. One, that people will still prefer to shop online. I don't think people are going to be as comfortable yet to kind of go, walk into the malls yet. So from that perspective, we will see more e-commerce happening. And I think this time is also bringing a lot of new online customers online, new shopping customers online, and they are going to stay. So the overall pool of people shopping online is going to increase, but the short-term pain is there and it's deep.
You're saying short-term pain, Swati, which means you're sounding optimistic for the e-commerce industry for the rest of 2020?
Yes, I think until the lockdown is there, so if we expect that to sort of be there all of April, right, then April, of course, is going to be really painful. And I think as we start coming out of lockdown, hopefully sometime in May, things will start picking up. We will probably take another 3 months after that to recover from this. And what remains to be seen, and we don't know that yet, is how are the consumers going to be impacted? Is the economy going to go into recession? Are people going to stop buying? Is the demand going to suffer? Because if all of that happens, then not only do we have the baggage of the last few months to deal with, but also fresh problems at hand. So I think April, May, June is going to be a very tough quarter. Perhaps the middle of next quarter, things start looking up, and by the end of this year, we hope to be sort of back on track, and just staying flat to where we were at the start of 2020 might just be the new nice thing to happen.
Swati is saying Q1 is going to be tough, but then the rest of 2020, businesses, consumers, everyone is going to be playing catch up in some sense. That's good news for business. But on the other hand, what do you want for businesses, particularly our entrepreneurs watching this panel, to know about what measures they need to put in place when it comes to ensuring that the security of their data is being taken care of? We started this panel with you very briefly talking about some of the recommendations that you as an organization are putting in place. But with the surge that's going to happen, for sure, that's the sense a lot of businesses are giving us. What do you want for small businesses to start putting in place as we speak?
For the small and medium enterprises, how you should defend against these kind of attacks. First, foremost thing is to reduce your unwanted email traffic, train your employees and users on email and browser security best practices. Separate personal use device from the work device. That is very, very important. Keep computer used for your social media sites, email and general internet browsing separate from the computer used for processing any financial transaction or any of the official work that you're doing. Practicing good password hygiene is equally important. You should make sure that the passwords defaults are changed so that to something personal to you, but which is difficult to guess. At the same time, combining uppercase letters, numbers, and the special characters, or using a passphrase is suggested here. And lastly, most importantly, use two-factor authentication. So many of these attacks rely on getting a password one way or another, which requires another form of ID, such as security tokens, which that will make it harder for hackers to falsify an account. So these are the few quick guidance, which can help you defend against this phishing and social engineering attacks.
Okay, so these recommendations or these suggestions that you've been sharing with us are what companies should be doing. But if you had recommendations as to what employees should look at, one, and two, what if you're working with an external vendor, then what should you keep in mind about ensuring that your data and your transactions, your payments data is being secured as well?
If you look at when you talk about the vendors, so these are very important things. A couple of things here which I would like to highlight is use of multi-factor authentication for all remote network access originating from outside the company's network should be having a multi-factor authentication. and passwords, a strong password policy has to be enforced, and ensuring the systems used by the staff working remotely or the employees working remotely have to be updated with the patches, anti-malware protections, firewall functionality to protect from the internet-based threats, including uninstall or disable applications and software that are not needed to reduce the attack surface of computers and laptops is also very equally important. Use only secure encrypted communication, for example, a properly configured VPN to protect all transmissions to from the remote device that contains sensitive information such as cardholder data, and automatically disconnect your remote access sessions after a period of inactivity to avoid any ideal or open connection being used for unauthorized access. So I think these are the few quick things that an employee while working remotely can take care of from the and these are the things which the employer also has to make sure that are being enforced on the employees while they are working remotely.
Let's take a quick break. On the other side, we will be continue answering what you should be doing if you're a small business when it comes to managing and maintaining business in these very, very unusual times. To stay tuned, back in just a moment. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we are continuing to bring you this special panel talking about what business preparedness and continuity looks like in these times. Two guests joining us in studio, Swati Bhargava as well as Nitin Bhatnagar. Let's quickly start looking at winding up this conversation. And Swati, I want to come to you and really talk about the fact that the fintech industry saw a great boost thanks to demonetization, the kind of innovation that we saw coming in post demonetization. COVID has forced businesses also to innovate and respond really using technology, when it comes to business continuity. Do you think fintech, as we see it, as we know it, is going to see a sea change now in the rest of the year going forward? What kind of innovation perhaps do you think industry is going to come up with to really respond to the changes and the challenges that we're seeing?
I think every business is trying to figure out what is its business continuity plan, and it looks different for different people. For some people, it means, like a cure fit, for example, where, they have gyms, but then now they're trying to expedite the product on the digital side because the gyms are a problem. So they're trying to speed up their online. So for different businesses, it's going to look differently. For us at CashKaro, what it is looking like is to actually expand into other categories. So we proactively started tying up with education websites like Udemy, Tester, Testbook, with gaming companies, with magazine subscriptions like Magster, with all the online services and products that people can consume without it, without e-commerce and delivery of product being involved. This is something that we always discussed, but COVID-19 kind of pushed us into saying this has to happen and it has to happen now. And I think that is where we are spending a lot of time right now because the whole team is working from home, doing project deep dives, doing internal audits. Our tech is, front running some projects which we thought it's for later, but then we are launching various tools which can help people, navigate the world of sort of e-commerce and savings once we come back. So I think this is, it is definitely encouraging everyone to innovate, but right now we are also like within the first month of the business impact, right? And what is really on people's mind is also to how to cut costs. So people are also seeing how to reduce marketing spend, how to, cut down employee costs, how to look at other factors such that they can reduce the burn. And I think once this first phase is over of sort of immediate reaction and the steps we need to take to manage our money, and I think innovation will happen in parallel and probably as a phase two.
Next two questions are for the both of you. And first, I want to talk about government policy and any changes that you would expect or hope to see, or any announcements that you'd hope to see from the government when it comes to either data security, when it comes to payment security, when it comes to the fintech industry, and what would that really be like? It's open to the two of you.
I think firstly, generally, I mean, we are startups, but we're also people of India. We are also citizens of India. And first, everybody wants to know from the government and needs reassurance from the government that we are equipped to be able to handle this crisis from a medical standpoint, from an economic standpoint, because while this started off as a medical crisis, it has also become a humanitarian crisis, and we cannot let it become an economic crisis, an unemployment crisis, because those problems are much, much harder to deal with as well, and they all can't happen in parallel. We will just come down as an economy, right? So I think regardless of what we want as startups, first, there is a lot of action needed at the top to manage everything. And I mean, we have a lot of gains happening due to oil price, right? We can probably deploy them as well. And I think startups need, there are a lot of businesses that are going under right now, unfortunately, because these are all unprecedented times. And I think there can be more economic support from the government to support startups. Just having tax reliefs is not enough, because most of the startups are actually loss making to start with. So we need some more tangible support sort of coming out there. Even regulations around rent payment. I mean, all of our startups have huge fixed costs of rents that we are paying every month, although we are not even using our offices. But the landlords will not agree unless there is some regulation that comes out.
So I may not be able to comment on what the government policies around should be, or but one thing that I would like to communicate through this as a message to the entire community whose employees are working remotely. It's very, very important for all of us to understand it's all about people, process, and technology. And employees are the first line of defense. And staff working remotely for the first time might not be familiar with the organization policies and processes that apply to the remote work environment. And all staff should receive security awareness training that emphasizes the importance of data security and be knowledgeable in the organization security policies and processes that apply to the remote working. For example, policies and procedures should be clearly state that or prohibit any unauthorized copy, moving, sharing, or storing any payment card data in the remote environment. Remote staff additionally need to be aware of their physical surroundings. This is very, very important, and taking care to prevent that sensitive information from being viewed by an unauthorized person. The organization security processes should be kept up to date and ready for any eventuality caused by the threats originating from the remote environments. So I think that's very, very important. Training, creating a lot of education and awareness for your employees at this point is going to really help everyone.
All right, Nitin, Swati, thank you both very much for your time here on the Leaders of Tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you. Bye bye.